I was the lackey of a powerful mob boss. Right under his nose, I kept a big, dumb 6'3" lug with a perfect body. The boss's eyes darkened. He sneered, "Getting bold, aren't you? Trying to be the master now? Fine. But what I taught you, you are not allowed to teach an idiot. I trained you myself. Let's see what you possibly have left to teach him." Before long, the boss, eyes blazing, slammed the idiot against a wall. "Who the hell taught you to kiss him?" I adjusted my collar. "I did. You never taught me how to kiss either. My name is River and I was Finn's most trusted associate, the mob boss. Everyone in the game treated me like the number 2. They all said I was the only person Finn cared about besides himself. Finn and I weren't related, and I'd never even risked my life for him. Yet, he had taken care of me from the time I was 17 until I turned 27. If it hadn't been for him back then, I would have been nothing but an ant. My father committed a crime and jumped off a building. My mother was killed in a hit and run, and I was framed and left to die in a prison cell. My decisive killer instinct, my ruthless methods, and my life of luxury, he gave me all of it. The guys in the crew were green with envy. They even said Finn was keeping me like a wife. But that rumor was wrong. While he treated me well, Finn was straight and a homophobe. For 10 years, I'd hidden how I felt about him, playing the role of a respectful younger brother who looked up to his big brother. 10 years of hiding it, it was torture. So I planned to tell Finn how I felt, to gamble everything. But I never expected that fifth brother would confess to Finn first. Finn responded by kicking his head in. When I rushed into the club, Finn was grabbing fifth brother's head and slamming it against the wall. His face was a bloody mess. "Boss, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Fifth brother's finally made-up face trembled. He cried, begging, "I'll never say anything like that to you again." Finn's muscles strained against his suit. "Too late."
Men liking men.
"Get out. That's absolutely disgusting." Finn glared at him in disgust and started punching him, every blow connecting, turning his face into a swollen mess. Finally, he kicked him away. "Toss him into international waters." The subordinates immediately dragged fifth brother away. Just for expressing his feelings, Finn abandoned him. Finn didn't spare him a second look. Instead, he turned and grinned at me slyly. "What did you say on the phone you wanted to tell me in person? Making such a big deal out of it?" I was still in shock, unable to respond. Finn always picked up on my emotions. He frowned suddenly and walked straight up to me, bending down to ask, "What's wrong?" I forced myself to look calm. "Nothing, big brother. You're lying." Finn suddenly grabbed my face, studying my pale expression for a long time. Then, he yanked off my belt and pulled up my shirt. He turned me around and pressed me against the wall. "Did that pervert lay a hand on you too? Let me check." His hands, rough and calloused from years of holding guns and knives, checked me from top to bottom. I bit my lip to suppress a shiver. Seeing that my body showed no signs of intimacy, he put my clothes back on and breathed a sigh of relief. Of course, there were no marks on me. Only he had ever touched my body. For the first 3 years I was with him, even though he was good to me, he was always on guard. Every time I came back from a mission, he'd personally check me for wires or listening devices. Later, he allowed me to get closer to him, but he still often ripped off my clothes to check if I was injured. I was the only one who got that treatment. It was this special treatment that made me unable to shake my feelings for Finn. But I figured it was time to ruthlessly get over him. He was the big brother I respected, the partner I trusted to watch my back, and as important as family. I had no other family left in the world, and I couldn't lose him. Couldn't let him hate me. No, guys like that aren't into a body type with no sex appeal like mine, I said calmly, drawing a line between myself and gay men. Finn pinched my waist, offended. "What's wrong with your body? I trained it myself. That lean muscle looks great." I gave a casual answer. "I'll try to get bigger." I grabbed a wet wipe and knelt to clean the bloodstains from his hand. Finn closed his eyes, thoroughly enjoying it. "You're perfect right now. When it comes to heavy lifting, I've got it covered. What are you worried about? Big brother will protect you." I muttered a quiet counterpoint. "You need to be big to get a wife, too." Finn frowned and gently tapped my forehead. Annoyed. What's the rush? You're still young. Young? I was 27. I had never been in a relationship. I needed to find something else to occupy my attention that wasn't Finn. Just then, Finn's subordinates brought a man in. Boss, second brother, there was a man hidden in fifth brother's car. He's an idiot. Looks like fifth brother brought him in from outside, trying to secretly use him as a stand-in for the boss. A stand-in? Fifth brother had some weird kinks. Using an idiot as a stand-in. I looked up at the man in front of me, 6'3" with a perfect male physique. He was shirtless with taut, muscular lines that, in terms of sheer hormone-driven masculinity, were similar to Finn's. But his eyes were clear and vacant, and he was mindlessly wolfing down a large steamed bun, ignoring everyone around him. He was clearly an idiot with the mental capacity of a 3-year-old. Finn didn't even look up. Toss him in the water for the fish. As Finn's men were about to drag the man away, I spoke up. Wait, big brother, can I have him? Finn looked at me, then at the man. Why? This was the first time I had ever actively asked Finn for anything. Finn seemed a bit annoyed that I was giving my first ask to an idiot. I offered an excuse. It'd be a waste not to train someone that big to be my bodyguard. The truth was, I was used to the dark side of life, and I felt uncomfortable bullying clear-eyed, pitiful people. When that idiot looked at me just now, he looked like a silly, tail-wagging dog. It was pathetic. Finn told me I can give you my best trained bodyguards. He's an idiot. Hearing the word idiot, the man suddenly bared his teeth at Finn. Even when the subordinate kicked him to the ground, he still whined in his throat, as if he were angry. He was about to die and didn't even know it. Truly a silly dog. A little compassion sparked in my heart. It's fine, I'll train him myself. I placed my hand on Finn's knee and softened my voice. Please, big brother. Finn's chest heaved violently twice. He seemed even angrier, but he couldn't refuse my request. He laughed in exasperation. Flirting with me for a silly dog? I can count the times you've acted sweet with me on one hand over the years. He took a deep breath, but still indulged me. Fine. But what I taught you, you are not allowed to teach a silly dog. I want to see how long you can keep him around. I led the idiot away right under Finn's nose. This idiot knew absolutely nothing. And since fifth brother was gone, no one knew where he had found him. He was probably tricked out of some corner with a few buns and pastries. The minute I gave him a pork bun, he treated me like his master. He had no guard up whatsoever. Hey, I patted the stupid man who insisted on squatting at my feet and rubbing his head against my calf. How about I call you Finn, too? It'd be cool. You'd share my big brother's last name and even sound like him. The stupid man looked up at me, paused, and shook his head of brown curls vigorously. Humph, you're too good for it? I flicked his forehead. He whined and pitifully slumped down on top of my feet. But calling him Finn really wouldn't work. If my big brother heard it, he might think I was using the idiot as a stand-in, and that would be bad. His head was heavy. I pulled my foot out and tried to communicate with him. So, what do you want to be called? He climbed onto my lap and pointed his finger at me. Your name? My name is River. My parents named me hoping I would be as pure as the moon. If they were alive and saw the life I lead, which can't stand the light of day, they would probably be very disappointed. The silly dog's eyes lit up when he heard my name. Me, too. River, River. I like it. I raised an eyebrow. I grabbed his curls and gently smacked his cheek. Hey, you're trying to steal my name on your first day with me? You've got guts. He tilted his face closer. Aren't you Master? He thought my name was Master. Where did he even hear that from? He knew hierarchy so well. But I had to admit, being called that felt kind of good. Fine, then take my last name. You can be Stellan. You like it? The silly dog crawled all over the floor, howling, Stellan. My name, Stellan. Well, he certainly showed his excitement. But I pulled the floor-crawling Stellan back to my side, a little worried. What should I teach you? Big brother forbade me from teaching him anything that he had taught me. All my skills were big brother's doing. He personally taught me everything, hands-on. You could say the person I was after 17 was entirely molded by Big Brother, exactly to his liking. I really couldn't think of anything I could teach Stellan. I might as well ask him, Stellan, what do you want to learn? Stellan leaned back on my lap. This position seemed to make him feel secure. He suddenly nudged me with his head. I want to learn how to make you happy. That direct hit made me feel pretty good inside. His mess of a head was ruining my clothes, and I couldn't stand it. I grabbed his curls and tossed him into the bathroom. I held him down to give him a shower. It was the first time I'd ever washed a supersized dog. His curls shook everywhere, splashing water all over me. I decided to take off my own clothes and shower, too. Stellan stared at me blankly, and his gaze made me feel hot. The hot water fogged his face, blurring his features. His chiseled jawline reminded me a little of Finn. For a split second, the feelings I had suppressed for so long found an outlet and burst out. Impulsively, I kissed him. MMPH. Stellan, whom I couldn't get to hold still a moment ago, immediately went quiet, his face turning red. He was suddenly obedient. After the kiss, I went quiet too. I was filled with regret. This morning, I was scorning Fifth Brother for getting a stand-in, and now I was even more despicable than him. I had just kissed a dummy who didn't understand anything. Stellan looked even stupider. After I let go, he just stood there blankly, his eyes darting to me quickly before looking away, only to dart back again. The guilt was awful. I wanted to escape reality for a bit, so I threw out a single sentence, "Scrub yourself," and tried to get up. He grabbed my hand, pointed to his lips, and asked innocently, "What was that?" Felt nice. I swallowed my irritation, cleared my throat, and tried to look respectable. That's a kiss. Who knew the idiot would say something shocking? I like kissing. Master, teach me more of that. Ahem. I absolutely was not going to teach Stellan anything improper like that. Mainly because I had no experience myself. I'd never dated, and all I knew about kissing was a basic peck. I had no one to practice with. I decided to teach Stellan how to be a proper person. With the mind of a 3-year-old, he was practically a blank slate. It was a huge responsibility to decide what colors to paint his life with. I was rescued by Finn after falling into the abyss and joining this line of work. I never had a chance to see the light of day again. But Stellan was clean. If he tried hard, he could be a normal person. Being a normal person was a luxury many people only dreamed of. I bought him reading materials and diligently taught him to read and write. Before my life took a turn for the worse, I was pretty successful, a decent student, smart enough to aim for a top-tier university. I treated Stellan like a little boy with a naive mind. Stellan fully trusted me, his tutor and master. However, his curiosity and desire for hands-on experience were way too intense. Master, how do you read this word? It's holding hands. What does holding hands mean? I patiently explained it means joining hands. Stellan wrapped his fingers around my forearm. Like this? No. I reached out for his hand, clasping his palm. Like this. Stellan suddenly scratched my palm and blinked at me. His eyes, underneath his messy curls, looked wet. Feels nice. I like it. If you like it, you can keep holding it. This was probably just a child's imprinting phase. I didn't care. But right then, Finn burst the door open. Finn always got his fill of fun with his revolving door of women, drank, and never slept with them. Instead, he was accustomed to coming to my room for me to take care of him. This time was no different. Leaning against the doorframe, he instinctively looked for me. River. I don't know why I suddenly felt guilty. I immediately pulled my hand out of Stellan's and rushed over to support Finn, ignoring Stellan's reaction. Big brother, you're drunk. Finn's neck was covered in kiss marks, but his face was clean, because he never kissed his lovers. His affairs were purely physical, no emotions involved. But having to be the one who wiped away the kiss marks on his body always made me sad. I unconsciously stared at his lips for an extra second, when a furry head popped out from behind me, anxiously nudging me. I had no choice but to use one hand to rub Stellan's head. Be good, play by yourself for a bit. The already drunk Finn suddenly opened his eyes and coldly warned Stellan. You dog, stay off the bed. Stellan was very obedient and gave the bed to Finn. I was on the left of the bed, the sleeping Finn was on the right, and Stellan was on the floor. Stellan refused to sleep in the room next door, and he insisted on using my clothes to make his dog bed. I was resigned to just letting him. But in the middle of the night, something furry suddenly snuck into my blanket and ate my mouth. I kissed him back in a daze. When the kiss woke me up, I immediately pushed him away, lowering my voice. "What are you doing?" Stellan was lying by the edge of the bed, looking at me pitifully. He whispered, "The bad thing made Master unhappy, so I want to make Master happy. When we kiss, you're happy." Luckily, Finn slept like a log when I was near him and wasn't paranoid about his sleep, or he would have shot Stellan by now. I coaxed Stellan into the room next door to sleep. The next morning, when Finn woke up, I was changing clothes with my back to him. His intense gaze lingered on my back for a while, and then he suddenly asked, "I thought I heard a dog barking last night." I deadpanned, "Big brother, you must have been talking in your sleep." Finn frowned, deep in thought for a moment, but didn't sense anything. He got out of bed and dressed. Before leaving, he told me he was heading north for business and to watch the home base. Finn pulled the door open and locked eyes with Stellan, who was squatting by the door. A 6'3" man managed to squat down to look as pitiful as a stray dog. Stellan glared at Finn with a resentful look, as if accusing someone of stealing his dog bed. Finn sneered and kicked him. Stellan immediately stared at me with teary eyes. Finn said, "River, did you forget? Everyone who gets close to us needs to be tested." The test was a rule Finn established after taking me in. Every associate who wanted to work with us had to pass a severe trial. Although overly strict, it had screened out many spies from other gangs trying to infiltrate us. That's why we hadn't had any moles for so many years. I felt a little reluctant to let Stellan suffer. He's just an idiot. Better safe than sorry. Finn's tone was non-negotiable. "I'll have someone take him." He had a point. In our line of work, we had to be constantly looking over our shoulder. The darkroom test lasted 3 days. If you survived, you were one of us. If you didn't, you were just a dead man. Even normal people had to grit their teeth and rely on willpower to get through. An idiot with no mind couldn't possibly withstand it. I decided to send Stellan away. If he wasn't with me, he wouldn't have to suffer. When my subordinate told Stellan that passing the darkroom test meant he could continue to stay with me, he happily ran inside. Fortunately, he made it through. Second brother, he's pure stupid. After we drugged him and hypnotized him, no matter what questions we asked, he just kept saying your name. He's clean, don't worry. But what use is an idiot to have around? I took Stellan, who was already unconscious and drenched in sweat, and let him lean on me. Even in his sleep, he clung to me tightly. It broke my heart. "It's fine. I'll take care of him." After the darkroom ordeal, Stellan clung to me even tighter. If he couldn't find me, he'd cry and use his huge muscles to tear the place apart. But I had to go out to work, so I reluctantly tried to soothe him. "What will make it better?" "Okish. I want a kiss." Stellan circled me, like a dog begging for a pork bun. I usually kissed him like a kid, just a quick peck. I never expected the silly dog to use his tongue. My face flushed crimson, and I finally pushed him away, shocked. "Where did you learn that?" Stellan stared at my lips, licking his own in anticipation. "Feels better this way." Any other person who looked at me with that gaze would have had their eyes gouged out by now. But Stellan was an idiot, so how could I hold it against him? Stellan seemed to realize that French kissing me crossed a line, and he suddenly lunged, tackling me and kissing me wildly. Kiss, no wrecking the house. No kiss, wrecking the house. The dog had figured out how to blackmail me all by himself. I finally managed to kick the silly dog off me just before I left. If I hadn't, my pants would have been gone. "You've had enough of a reward. Watch the house." The cargo transfer at the dock happened at night. The guy I was meeting was named Leo Wang. He wore a gray suit and glasses like some kind of refined villain, but his slick, greasy look disgusted me. I had my subordinates check the cargo. I sat on a couch, sipping tea and watching my surroundings. Leo reached out and slung an arm over my shoulder, rubbing it suggestively. "River, we're the same kind. That pretty face of yours has been wasted on Finn for all these years. He doesn't appreciate you. I will. I grabbed his sleeve, threw his hand off, and patted my shoulder, speaking plainly. Out of respect for our years as partners, shut up. Leo didn't take it seriously. You're the kind I like best. A sweet face with a little fight in you. They're the hottest when they break. Before he could finish, I had pulled out my weapon and shot through the back of his hand. Leo screamed. That was just the beginning. I smiled at him. You're too dirty. I should just cut it off. Finn had taught me how many bones and joints the human body has, and where to inflict the most excruciating pain. Leo shrieked in agony. Both sides started fighting. I'd been in plenty of fights. This scene didn't scare me. I took off my watch, clenched it in my fist, and beat the group senseless. Second brother, look out, my subordinate yelled. Unexpectedly, Leo, whom I had just knocked out, had somehow gotten behind me and was raising an iron rod to strike my head. There was no time to dodge. I prepared to take the hit. As I closed my eyes, a warm body leaped toward me. The blood from Stellan's head splashed and stained my vision red. Stellan had taken the blow for me. It had been years since I was this panicked. Stellan's blood was pouring out, gushing all over me. I was furious and terrified. Stellan, you don't know anything. So why did you jump out to protect me? Stellan was so wronged that tears mixed with the blood. His face was growing pale. You said to watch the house. Don't yell at me. You are the house. I ignored all the rules and took Stellan to a big hospital. We had doctors in the mob. They were great at treating wounds but not brain injuries. Stellan already had brain damage, and I was terrified of him dying in my hands. The doctor diagnosed him and performed surgery. Stellan had narrowly survived, and he was even better for it. The doctor said he originally had a blood clot in his brain that caused amnesia and made him an idiot. Now that the clot was gone, he would gradually regain his memory and become a normal person. After the surgery, I took Stellan back to recover. I didn't trust having him outside with rivals lurking. He slept for 3 days. When he woke up, he stared at me blankly for a moment, then burst into tears. Wah, you're not dead, wah. Didn't the doctor say you'd be normal when you woke up? Why are you still a 3-year-old idiot? Stellan sniffled, took my hand, wrapped his arms around my waist, and buried his face in my shoulder, crying. I'm River 10 now. I'm crying, you have to comfort me. At least he aged 7 years. Fine, I'd comfort him. Seeing my indulgence, his eyes lit up, and he pouted at me. I forced a laugh. He was still an idiot mentally, but he already knew how to kiss with tongue. It was terrifying. Stellan's development was rapid. He was gaining a year of mental age practically every day, and his memory was catching up too. River 12, you need to tell me who you are and where you lived. I pushed the silly dog off my neck and looked at him seriously. Are you going to send me away? Stellan looked at me, his lips slowly trembling. I'm an orphan. I grew up in the Moonstar orphanage. Gambler dad. Mom died of sickness. Do you want to see me broken? The dog knew how to act like a sweet little victim now. Wait, the Moonstar orphanage. When my family was still thriving, we sponsored many orphanages, and I think that was one of them. My mom even took me there. I just don't remember much. River at 13 told me he went to the same middle school as I did. River at 15 told me he went to the same high school as I did. River at 18 named the university I had once planned to attend. He was 2 years younger than me, but our life paths overlapped for a while. It was strange. When I tried to ask more, he'd get a terrible headache. He couldn't remember anything after age 18. He tried to hit his head on the bathtub to bring back his memories. I quickly hugged his waist and stopped him. If you can't remember, forget it. It's fine if you don't grow up, I'll take care of you. After I said that, Stellan froze, his eyes turning red. He suddenly pulled me into the bathtub. The shower switch was accidentally flipped, and hot water poured down, soaking both our clothes. His muscular definition was on full display. I glanced at him, my face flushing, and quickly looked away. I inwardly wondered what job he had after college to get such a solid, fit body. He pressed my hands onto his body. He felt scalding hot. I quickly pulled away. But he yanked me back into his arms and asked in a hoarse voice, "I'm 18. You can do bad things to me now." He leaned down without hesitation. He really didn't have any pride at all. Wait, could someone really fall in love with me in such a short time? It felt like a bucket of cold water was poured over my head. My eyes lost focus, and my heart chilled. I purposely looked up at the ceiling and called out a name. Fee. People who don't invest their true feelings don't mind being stand-ins. But when Stellan heard the first syllable of Finn's name, he reacted violently, splashing out of the bathtub. He looked crazy as he grabbed my face and chewed on me with a kiss that was deep and vicious. The madness behind the force of it brought me a thrilling pain. "Look closely. See who you're doing this with." I licked the blood from the corner of my mouth. I was satisfied. Late at night, I woke up and looked at the person next to me. He was fast asleep, hugging my waist. "You little dog, are you trying to bait me into investigating you?" No one regains memories precisely a year at a time, and he specifically told me about our shared past. I lightly slapped his cheek. "What is your goal? To destroy us?" If that were the case, he had the ability to pass the test and sneak in. Why bother pouring out his heart to me? I didn't understand. Stellan seemed to sense my touch. In his sleep, he instinctively grabbed my hand and licked it. What a perverted puppy. I closed my eyes, exhausted. Forget it. As long as he doesn't hurt Finn or me, I'll play along for now. Even though I don't feel that way about Finn anymore, he's still the big brother I respect. If it weren't for him back then, I'd be dead. I can't be ungrateful. I started investigating Stellan. After some digging, I found traces of myself in his past. More accurately, photos showing him secretly watching me, recorded by onlookers. In the orphanage group photo, I was in the center with my mom, and a skinny, small Stellan was standing on the edge. Everyone else looked at the camera, but he was looking at me. In my middle school stage photo, he was one of the audience members. In my high school auditorium speech, he was hiding backstage, staring intently at me. However, I found an even more unexpected presence in that photo. Finn. He was wearing an ill-fitting high school uniform, his built body noticeable. He was smoking a cigarette by the back door of the auditorium, his gaze inexplicably focused on me. Even if it was a blurry profile, I would recognize Finn if he were dust. It was him, but I was only 16 that year, still living a life of privilege before I fell into the mud. It was a year before I met him in prison. The shipment Finn was picking up ran into trouble, so he was delayed. Otherwise, if he'd heard I was in an accident, he would have rushed back immediately to check my injuries. But I didn't expect that after he handled his business, he'd speed straight to my place late at night. He always had a key to my house. I'd been so preoccupied with Stellan lately that I hadn't paid much attention to Finn's situation. All I knew was that he'd been ambushed by a rival gang but was okay. After that, I didn't worry about when he'd return. When the bedroom door opened, Stellan was still trying to coax me into letting him eat me up. Eat what? Finn slammed the door open, his eyes burning as he looked at the chaos on the bed. I hadn't noticed he was leaning against the wall, his hands shaking. I was so embarrassed. This was the first time Big Brother had seen me in such a messy state. I had zero of my second brother authority. Stellan was instantly on high alert. He quickly turned his back to shield me with his body and pulled down the clothes he had pushed up. I pushed his dog head away and played the humble scapegoat. Big Brother. But he was always hanging out at clubs. He should be used to this sort of thing. Why was he so angry seeing me and Stellan? Finn's gaze on my neck was strange. It was covered in kiss marks from the dog. Finn grabbed Stellan, dragged him off the bed, and, with fire in his eyes, slammed him against the wall. Who the hell taught you to kiss him? Stellan looked at me innocently. My master taught me. I don't know what part of Stellan's words struck Finn. He pulled out the gun from his waistband, his hand shaking as he aimed it at Stellan's temple. I couldn't let that happen. I quickly pushed Finn's arm down. Big Brother, I did teach him. I defended myself. You never taught me how to kiss, so I didn't break the rule. I didn't teach him anything you taught me. Finn, shaking, slammed his fist hard into the wall. He turned to look at my face, his rough thumb harshly rubbing my lower lip. It was swollen from Stellan chewing on it the past few days. Finn's gaze was terrifying, as if he wanted to tear me apart. Why was that possessive look on his face? Why was it directed at me? I pulled my collar up, suspecting I must have misread him. But Finn didn't give me a chance to doubt. He grabbed my collar, held my jaw, and forced me to look up at him. His eyes were full of desire, burning hot. I saw it clearly. As he leaned down, I put my hand between us, looking at him with both alarm and fear. My voice trembled. Big brother, you are the big brother I respect. It's been this way for 10 years. Can we keep it that way, please? My look seemed to sting Finn. He lost his nerve and let me go. But I had a feeling this was only temporary. I was in utter turmoil. I was afraid Finn would come back and kill Stellan, and I couldn't understand Finn's feelings for me. I spent the entire night smoking by the window, feeling lost. As dawn broke, Stellan, who had silently stayed by my side all night, kissed me like a madman. I couldn't even swallow my own saliva, he took it all. The corners of his eyes were red, and he was crying. Now that you know how Finn feels about you, do you regret being with me? No, don't say it. I don't want to hear it. He was like a pathetic puppy, begging and terrified that I would throw him away. I kissed the corner of his eye and stroked his face. No, I'm the kind of person who, once I commit, I stick to it. I sighed. But what about Finn? Finn also won't let anyone change his mind once he's set on something. If he wants to possess me, he absolutely won't allow Stellan to exist. Stellan seemed to read my thoughts. He shook my hand and whispered, "Let's get out of here." He looked toward the sunrise. "I'll take you somewhere no one can find us. We'll start over." His tone was calm and certain, but I couldn't bear to leave Finn. After 10 years together, Finn was my family. He bought me this house and personally decorated it to make sure I had a stable place to live. He had replaced my deceased parents, caring for me, looking after me, and raising me. I pulled my hand away and shook my head. "This is my home." Stellan suddenly cried. He covered his face with his hand and looked heartbroken for a long time. Then he asked calmly, "If this place is the hell he wants to drag you down to, do you still think of it as home?" What did he mean? Once the spark of suspicion is lit, the truth is quickly unraveled, thread by thread. Everything had always been traceable, no matter how deeply the perpetrator buried it. I found out the truth just as a crisis hit the gang. Finn's rival gang had suffered heavy losses when he picked up the last shipment. They held a grudge. They launched a nighttime attack on our dock. Finn didn't even have time to deal with Stellan. He gathered most of the crew at the home base and rushed to the dock. As for me, the situation was too dangerous, so Finn didn't call me. But I went anyway. Before leaving, I secretly gave Stellan a sleeping pill and had someone take advantage of the chaos to send him away. If I didn't come back, it was best for him to treat everything that happened here as a dream and forget about me. Fires raged everywhere. I don't know who tipped them off, but none of that mattered anymore. I spotted Finn in the chaos. He was just like he was 10 years ago in prison when he saved me from the inmates trying to abuse me, stepping on heads and crushing necks. He was a thug, but to me he looked like a hero. I walked into his line of sight. "River, what are you doing here?" Finn was frantic when he saw me. He threw a subordinate toward me, using the man's body to shield me from an attack. Finn saw that I wasn't acting right. He rushed over and shielded me. "Come here." He grabbed me and tried to retreat. "They're attacking like crazy this time, but my guys aren't slackers. I'll escort you back later, the home base will be safe. But there are a lot of them. If something happens to me, you wait for me. Okay? If I go down, you can go play with that idiot. I'll pretend I never saw it. But you have to wait for me." His eyes looked like he was saying he would haunt me like a ghost. I asked why.
Finn froze.
"You're not coming with me?" He panicked instantly, threatening me desperately. "I gave you your life." I pressed my gun against his lower back and pushed. "Then did you take my parents' lives?" Finn had lied to me. He faked evidence to frame my dad for corruption, forcing him to jump to his death. Then he had people run over my mother, faking her death as a suicide. Then he set me up to look like I had a mental breakdown and accidentally killed someone, sending me to prison. He destroyed my home. He destroyed me. Then he played the hero to save me, pinning everything he did on others and even pretending to avenge me. What a production. I broke down and cocked the hammer. Why go to such lengths to set me up? Is lying to me fun? I didn't understand. I didn't understand. I had no feud with him. Why did he hurt me so badly, only to save me? The gun at his back, he could take it any time he wanted. After all, I learned all my skills from him. The moment I moved, he knew my next step. He led me into a relatively safe warehouse and turned to face me. This was the first time I'd seen him look so helpless and desperate. He tried to soothe me. I didn't do it. You have to trust me, big brother. Is that idiot trying to turn you against me? He's manipulating you. He lied to you. No, Stellan never told me anything. I found all of this out myself. Finn was still trying to lie to me. River, don't dirty your hands. Stellan appeared behind Finn out of nowhere, aiming a black gun at the back of Finn's head.
Finn left Moniozoi.
See, he approached us on purpose. That wasn't what I cared about. I closed my eyes in despair. Yes, I came here to save River. I let myself be hypnotized and sent in as an idiot. I went through hell and back just to get him out of your hands. Finn, you couldn't stand the sight of River being bright and having a glorious future. You're insecure. You're despicable, so you dragged him into the abyss to keep you company. But River, Stellan looked at me, his eyes full of fervent love. Love doesn't mean covering yourself in filth. That sentence seemed to hit a nerve with Finn. He quickly moved behind a shipping container while Stellan was looking at me and fired a shot at him. Stellan dodged it and provoked him. You don't even have the guts to admit how you feel. Finn screamed. That's not true. I do. His voice betrayed his location. Stellan pulled me behind him and approached the container where Finn was hiding. He quietly comforted me. River, you told me to treat you like a dream. I can't. I hope you can treat Finn like a bad dream. I'll wake you up from this nightmare. It was time to wake up from the beautiful dream Finn had woven for me. I pushed Stellan's hand down. My turn. This is between him and me. I didn't care anymore. I was a dead man walking. I sprayed bullets toward the container. I could vaguely hear footsteps running toward us. Our guys, they're guys. Too many people. I might get shredded by the rival gang. But Finn wouldn't be able to escape either. Finn's voice was shaking. River, get out of here. Don't throw your life away for me here. It's not worth it. But I wanted Finn's life. I advanced step by step. I thought I heard Finn sigh. He stepped out from behind the box. Facing me, he raised his hand and aimed at his own temple. He smiled through tears, his eyes twitching. So stubborn this time? Fine. You can have my life. You go hide, be a good boy. Bang! Blood splattered and stained my white shirt. I was covered in his blood. I suddenly lost all strength and fell to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I had followed Finn for 10 years. Who would have thought it would end like this? Finn died. The two big gangs were decimated by fighting each other and then cleaned up. Dawn broke. Finn's number 2, River, supposedly jumped into the river with an idiot and committed suicide. Half a month later, their bodies were recovered and confirmed dead. In some remote, impoverished corner of the world, a new school was established. There, 2 teachers voluntarily taught the poor kids who couldn't attend school otherwise. Teacher, what does your name mean? Stellan means a star that follows the moon. When the moon is dim, the star can shine and guide the moon. Stellan looked at me proudly. My lover named me. Isn't it a great name? Under the envious stares of a bunch of little kids, I secretly pinched Stellan's thigh. Don't flirt. Focus on educating the children.